Hello from Bath! As I said in my last week's vlog, here I am, treating myself to a weekend away, partly for writing and partly for exploring and showing you around as well. Because this beautiful resort city has so much history and so much wonderful, amazing scenery that I couldn't be here without making this vlog. I am Catalina George, Romanian in the UK, and today we will explore some of the most famous and most scenic places in Bath. We will start here in the Garden Parade, which costs £2 for visiting, but once you pay the £2 and you've got the ticket, you can come and go as you please here. And the actual gardens have a history of their own because they used to be the grounds of the old abbey, which we can see from here. Later on, the Victorians just modified all of this, and there was, of course, a bandstand here, which isn't any longer in the park because that one got destroyed under some circumstances that I can't remember right now, but you can surely find them online. I wanted to start filming here not only because this is a really beautiful garden and because the weather is a little bit fickle today. Clouds, sunshine, you don't know if it's going to rain or not, but because that view behind me, the weir that they built in the 1970s, is the very first image that I've seen from Bath. And for me, such a water feature with all those steps, the sound, the look of it, feels quite special. Let's go and explore around. So naughty carbs wise on this weekend trip to Bath, and one of my guilty places is just behind me. It's called La Baguette. I'm going to grab a jumbo sausage roll from here for my belated brunch, I guess, just like I did yesterday, and go and eat it in the square by the Abbey and the Roman baths. You can find this place on the main pedestrian area leading to the Roman baths, and yes, I completely recommend La Baguette for the very tasty pastry and coffee as well. I couldn't help it but have a bite or even two of my sausage roll on the way to this beautiful square. And I think I made the right decision to vlog today because it's not so overcrowded as it was yesterday. Of course, it's end of August, proper season, and you will get a lot of tourists around here, the Abbey and the Roman baths, where I hope to take you with me in a few minutes after I finish my jumbo sausage roll and my very nice decaf coffee from La Baguette. Have I got any lipstick left? Or have I eaten it all with my yummy jumbo sausage roll? Well, never mind, we'll redo it later. I'm just about to join the queue here to see probably the most famous thing in this beautiful resort city, the old Roman baths. This very fickle English summer has chased me away from the bench where I was enjoying my lovely coffee and also a very nice chat to a local chap whose grandfather was Polish and came here even before the Second World War and then went and fought in the war. It's really nice to meet somebody who is so chatty, who tried to recommend me things to see around Bath, other than your usual museums and landscape marks and everything. He told me about a few art events that are happening here, and yes, there's so much art in Bath that I'm certain I need to come back here, not only for that, but because Bath has really won me over. Now I'm really excited to go and see how the Roman baths really look like. Let's go! Well, I've actually been told that it doesn't take long to go through this queue, so fingers crossed. really big and they have so much history around. So it's worth investing some time to explore, to listen to all of the audio guide, which I myself can't do today, but I will certainly come back here. I bought an yearly pass which grants me entrance to Roman Bath, the Victoria Art Gallery and also the Fashion Museum for 1 year. And I want to certainly come back here with Adrian for a beautiful romantic weekend together with a little bit of history around us. Now that we have visited the Roman baths together, I want to tell you a little fun story from my wanders around yesterday. Here, just in front of the pump room, there was this lovely lady guide dressed up in old-fashioned, vintage fashion who was leading a free Jane Austen tour through the city. And I joined in just a little bit because I heard her talk about the marriage hunt that was going on here in this city in the Victorian times. It seems that well-off young men who were eligible for getting married were spending some time the season here, which was about 6 months. And it was here at the pump room restaurant, or from what I gathered, something similar, that they would leave in the registry both their name and the place that they were staying at. But everybody could check the registries back then. It seems like they didn't hear about data protection back in Victorian times or around those historical times. So the mothers of girls who could be getting married now would go around and check these registries to see where these young men were staying. Because if they could afford a very good accommodation for 6 months here in Bath, it was a very good sign for their welfare and their financial status. And then what these mothers do, they kept on checking where the young men was signed themselves up for, what events they were going to, and by coincidence, their daughter will show up there in all her finery. And by coincidence, by the end of the season, usually engagements were arranged. Victorian people who made Bath one of their main playground areas loved gardens and, yes, obelisks. They kind of planted them everywhere they could. Putney Bridge with its shops just makes me think of some historical fantasy story or just pure fantasy novels. Now my second very guilty carbs pleasure here in Bath is this shop behind me. It's a French patisserie and chocolaterie, and I'm going to go and buy some sweets there before heading off to my afternoon tea at Ivy Brasserie. They make this like rose-shaped patisserie products called Quinette, if I'm correct, and also it's an absolute macaroon heaven. I'll see if I can get a couple of shots from inside. Afternoon tea has arrived. It looks delicious, just like this place. Ivy Brasserie looks stunning, so I am just going to enjoy now. Now that felt like the most posh experience that I've ever had. Oh, look at me having afternoon tea here in Bath. By now I should have already showed you some of the interiors at Ivy Brasserie, a really beautiful place. I'm absolutely stuffed. I feel I could just explode. Okay, maybe that information you didn't want to know. And as I stepped out of the restaurant, the weather has turned all grey and cloudy, and yeah, I will just walk back to my car and drive back home, because I also want to stop at the Gloucester services, the farm shop, the best ones in the whole country, because you get their local produce from farmers, meats, cheeses, oh really nice stuff. The only thing that I didn't manage to do while here in Bath was visit the fashion museum, but there will always be another time, because I am quite sure I'm going to come back to Bath over and over again. But for now, I'm going to wrap up this vlog, reminding you to subscribe to my channel if you liked this, also to give me thumbs up for this video, and until next time then, ciao for now.